Hey guys, believe it or not, I actually just picked up another one of these hard to find Predicta Tandem aka pet house sets. This is one that I think one or two of you guys actually pointed out to me on a local Craigslist. He wanted quite a bit of money for it though, and it was listed for months and months, and the price never budged. Well, a few days ago it popped up on eBay at a significantly reduced price. So I placed a bid. I was the only bidder and I won it, and here it is. And it was a treat to go get this set because he also was selling an even rarer Predicta Tandem stereophonic set with a blonde finish. That set is meant to connect to a sister set, which I don't think he had, which is, I think, a radio and a phonograph. And they hook together, and there's a speaker in the TV chassis, and there's a speaker in the radio chassis. And I think that's why they call it stereophonic. It also has some controls back here for bass and treble and volume, I think. And that set works. He's also asking for significantly more money for it, so I didn't get it. The cable for this looks to be in fine condition, and unlike my other set, it hasn't been cut off. Now, he said this set was working when he was down in Texas, but when he brought it up to Chicago, it was no longer working. And it turns out there's kind of a tragic tale of what happened. Is when he was moving here up from Texas, there was a fire in the moving truck, and a bunch of his stuff got damaged, including this. Although I think it's fairly superficial. This top is actually covered with a bit of soot or charred a little bit. And that's what it's supposed to look like overall. I did a little bit of a quick test with some Howards Restore Finish Mahogany, and I think this is just some surface grime or like I said, soot. And a bit of staining here and some paint blobs. I think that'll all come out just fine. The only other issue I've noticed is that down below here, it must have gotten damp because the wood fibers have expanded out, but you really can't see it at all, so I'm not worried about that. I'll show you that when I get it inside where we have some better lighting. The other reason I wanted to get this set is not only because it's intact and it was a pretty decent price. It's got all three knobs. I'm missing one of these knobs on my other set. And also the printing is very, very distinct. And it's got the antenna. It's a bit stiff though. This come out to several telescoping sections, and then it should pivot. Oh, there we go. It was stuck before when I tried it. So that's just awesome. The antenna is missing on all my other Predictas. And it's got the back and the power cord. So like I said, he said it had been working, but I didn't get into any details about whether it had actually been restored or not. And I have not looked inside yet. So we can pop this open and take a look. I also don't know if the picture tube's good or not, but I'll keep my fingers crossed on that. I brought the cabinet inside where we've got some better lighting, and it's a whole lot more comfortable. We're right at the beginning of what looks to be a brutal heat wave. I think the 7-day forecast every day was 90 plus. We may even hit 100 degrees a couple days this week. So I'm not looking forward to that. So here's the cabinet. It's got a delightful aroma. Not only was this in or near a fire, but the former owner was a smoker. Hopefully Howard's Restore Finish can do its magic and not only clean this up, but get that odor out. So here's the damage I was talking about. See this here? It's kind of pulpy. Don't think it's damp anymore though, but I'll take a look. As it is, I don't think it's bad because you just can't see it unless you get down and really look at the set. But I may be able to kind of clamp that down. like impregnate it with some glue and then squeeze it back down till the glue hardens up. Alright, so I got some extra fine steel wool and some Howard's Restore Finish mahogany. Here's my little test, and it looks very promising. So I'm going to keep working the rest of the cabinet. So there's a little bit of veneer separation, but it's nothing too bad. I can just shoot a little glue in there and clamp that down. Alright, I just started working in this corner here, and it's looking very encouraging. Alright, that's much better. Hope the rest of it comes out looking that nice. Alright, much better. A little splotchy, a little bit darker here for example, but I'm really happy it came out as well as it did. Alright, so much for the cosmetic stuff. Now let's take a look inside. If you recall, when I looked inside my other tandem set and a holiday set, both the fusible resistor and thermistor had exploded. The fusible resistor is on the B+ supply, and the thermistor is in the series strong tube filaments to provide a soft startup. So curious to see if they've exploded in this set too. I pulled all the knobs out and took the back off and removed the 3 bolts to hold the chassis in place. And pulling it out. Disconnect the speaker. Yeah, this definitely was worked on. The speaker fell out. That's what that noise was. Oh, it's filthy. I mean, it's really filthy. Kind of sticky. It's got to be the result of the fire. Okay, let's take a closer look. So here's the fusible resistor. It is intact. Same kind of funky diodes like I have in my other sets. Originally there would have been some type of cartridge diodes I think that would fit into here properly. I don't know if this was a factory change or if the diodes were replaced at some point. Hard to say. So when I said I could tell that there had been some work done, here's a new cap. There's some new caps down in there. So it looks like whoever worked on this clipped out a few of the parts from the top side of the board and put the new parts, little pigtails there. Not the greatest job, but so be it. But for sure there's still some original parts here, like the original cup plates. That's an original cap, as is that. So that might be some hack repair job there. Boy, does this thing stink. I think there's a new electrolytic down in there. Let's take a look underneath. Alright, looks like this multi-tap wire wound resistor failed. Some nice replacements on there though. I like, these are the same type of Dale vitreous enamel resistors that I like to use. And the thermistor is still here. It's been replaced at some point though. I cannot find these anywhere. The closest I can find is a CL90, which isn't really all that close. The originals were 400 ohms cold, meaning when you first turn on the set, and I think something like 13 ohms once it's warmed up. A CL90 I think is 100 or 120 ohms cold, and just a few ohms when it's hot. So in other words, there's only about a quarter of the resistance of what the original was, but that's the closest thing I can find for a modern equivalent. We got one new electrolytic here, we got some orange drops. Yellow guy there and there. Boy, I really hate working on sets that other people have worked on. I think you've heard me say that before. Because you never know what crazy alterations they may have made. But I do have my other set that's completely original, so I can compare the two side by side. And actually the Holiday chassis is very similar too. So my plan is still to do the Holiday first, and I plan on starting on that real soon. After that, I'm more inclined to restore the other tandem chassis first and save this one for last. By that time I've really cut my teeth on the others and have some experience, because I expect this one's going to be a little more challenging since it's had work done to it. A bit of corrosion here, but it's not too bad. So this may have been, this may have had something done to it at some point. That's the AC input there. Alright, well, what I'm going to try doing now is I'm going to flip this back down, and I've been curious to give this stuff a try on these Predicta sets and see if this can clean out some of that crud. It's clean underneath at least. I guess that's something. But yeah, this is this is pretty nasty. So after I attempt to clean this a little bit, it leaves one major thing to check, which is the all-important picture tube. This is designed, by the way, to do just this, so it's not going to cause any problem. Stuff will evaporate and won't harm the electronics at all. Well, looks like I'm going to have to do a little scrubbing in there with some Q-tips or something, but did a decent job, I suppose. Certainly loosened all the gunk up. Paper towel's just not going to work that well. I'm going to have to use Q-tips. There's just too many nooks and crannies to try to get into. There's a bit of a crack in the cover, the back of the picture too. It's a shame, but not the end of the world. Ideally, the picture tube's been replaced with a 6-volt version and it's not the original. But who knows? Oh, there we go, there's the label. 21 FDP4A. I think that is a replacement. Gotta do a little checking online. I did a quick check online, and indeed the 21 FDP4 is the much more reliable aftermarket replacement CRT. The original had a 2.35 volt filament and were very prone to failure. This has a more conventional 6.3 volt filament. And the reason it's more reliable is that the electron gun was redesigned. So let's give this a try. I've got everything set up here. Filament right on the tick mark, 6.3, and it sure is glowing nice and bright. So let's see. Shorts. Cut off. Well, that's a good sign. Climbing. So very responsive to this control. And the emissions are, well, I shouldn't say the emissions, but the cutoff is, I can get it to go way up high. Sometimes even with this control cranked all the way over to the right, I can't get the needle up to under that black mark where it's supposed to be. And emissions, well, if I turn the cutoff up, certainly well into the green, and it's still climbing and climbing. So, very, very good sign. I'll let this sit for a while. I guess you're supposed to have the cutoff in a black box. You check the emissions. But basically, I've noticed that if the cutoff is anything above 0 and the emissions are halfway decent, you should be able to get a picture. And that is plenty good. Life test, not so hot, but I'll let this thing sit for a while. It's been about half an hour, and emissions are still holding up nice and strong. And now I'm going to do a life test. Not bad. Seen better, but I've seen a whole lot worse too. The cleaning is progressing just fine, but check this out. When I got to this multifunction control here, you got push on and push off power and volume and I think contrast. I found that this orange wire here is loose. It was just wrapped around this terminal, never soldered on. So I wonder if that could be the source of the problem in this set. So the owner said it was working, and then he moved, and then it stopped working. Although I mean, obviously it's dirty from all this soot, but that wouldn't cause the set to stop working. It just looks nasty, is all. But if that loose wire goes to the contrast control, it could very well cause the picture to completely go out of the picture tube. I've been making some decent progress on the cabinet. It's on the back porch right now with another layer of lacquer sanding sealer drying. I've also been cleaning up this chassis. It's starting to look a little more respectable. And got me thinking that the more I clean this chassis, I realize it's actually in pretty darn good condition. And it was restored not all that long ago. I can kind of tell from the types of components used. And the owner of the set said it was working not too long ago. So I am entertaining the notion of powering this set up. Especially since I think I might have found the smoking gun, or at least something that's potentially wrong with that loose connection on the contrast control. And it's a promising sign that the fusible resistor and the thermistor are both intact. Also, the flyback is in good condition and it's been recoated with modern silicone. So, in spite of some of the crude repairs done on the top side of the circuit board, it's actually, whoever worked on this did a decent job. Underneath, the components are all pretty good quality. I mentioned the power resistors earlier, I think, and also there's a bunch of orange drops under there. There we go. And new electrolytic. Yeah, there is one old bumblebee in there, which I'm not crazy about. A couple more down there. Well, that's some new orange drops. Well, I'm thinking, you know, between the fusible resistor, the thermistor, and I can put a dim bulb in series with the power cord, and I can use a Variac and so on. What harm could there be in trying to power this up? So, I'm going to drag out some of my equipment like the Variac and bring the picture tube in here, solder up that loose connection, and what the heck, let's give this a try. Well, here's my setup. I've got a Variac that's fused going to an isolation transformer because this is a transformerless series wired set and I don't want to get shocked. And I've also thrown in a 150 watt bulb in series just for an extra bit of safety. And then here's the chassis. And I plugged the speaker in. It took me a while to figure out where the heck that plugged back in. I'm really glad I had a copy of this Beatman's 1959 because it's got the tandem set in it. And within these pages, somewheres, they show you what all connects to those boards. Yeah, down in here. So right there, there we go. SPKR, those two lugs right there, L9U and L10U, that's where the speaker plugs in. And finally, I lugged the CRT in and plugged it in the back. So, I'm going to set the camera up on a tripod and plug in the Variac and start turning everything on slowly and cranking it up, and let's see what happens. Alright, that's about as far back as I can put the camera. One thing I've noticed with this new video camera is that I seem to have to be a lot further back to get everything in frame. This is the best I can do right now. So, I am going to turn my Variac all the way down, turn it on, turn on the ISO tap, and start turning up the Variac. Turn off the overhead lights for a moment. Okay, I can see the light bulb starting to glow. See, I wasn't sure that this has a push button on and off switch. I wasn't sure if the set was turned off or on. It does seem like it's turned on because we're getting some current flow. Turning the Variac up. The bulb's glowing noticeably brighter now. Can't see any tubes lighting up yet though. Keep going. I'm only at 52 volts on my Variac. Turn the sound up. Nothing. Juice on the Variac. And tube filaments are lighting up. Sorry for the background noise, but it's still really hot, so I've got the air conditioner running. I'm at about 85 volts on the Variac. Still no signs of life though. But I can tell the tubes are lit up, and since they're wired in series, you know, if a few are lighting up, that means they've all got juice going through them, including the CRT. And keep in mind that even with a 150 watt bulb, these sets draw quite a bit more power than a radio, so I'm starving it of a lot of power. Once I get to the point where the Variac's up all the way and the set's not doing anything bad, I will go ahead and take the bulb out of the circuit. Well, there's some crackling out of the speaker. Kind of reacting to the tuner. Alright, Variac's up all the way now. Alright, everything seems to be okay, so now I'm going to go without that light bulb in series with the set. Now there is supposed to be a light behind the channel there, but maybe that's burned out. It's kind of annoying because it would be a handy indicator that the set does actually have power. I'm hearing some signs of life out of the high voltage rectifier. Oh, some flashes of light on the CRT. There's clearly some arcing going on in there. So I'm not going to leave that running, but hey, it's certainly a good sign. I'm surprised I didn't get any sound out of it though. When I was starving instead of some juice, I was getting some crackle out of the speaker, but this time I got nothing. Just some sparking inside the high voltage cage. So I'm going to put it around inside the cage and see if I can find out where it's shorting out. Okay, I popped the top off the high voltage cage. I'm going to turn the set on. Hearing some ringing out of the high voltage oscillator. I wonder if it doesn't work right if the high voltage cover is open. Oh wait, just saw a flash of light on the well, whatever we're shorting out has gone away. Oh, and the pilot lights suddenly come on out of nowhere. I'm getting no reception, no sound. Don't have an antenna hooked up, but I was thinking it might be able to pick up some signal on channel 6. I'm tweaking the horizontal and vertical hold right now. Alright, I will hook up an antenna and see if that helps any. Alright, I hooked up a pair of rabbit ears. Let's see if that helps any. And boy, I tell you, this set stinks. Normally you can kind of sniff around for the smell of burning electronics and you know it's bad, but in this case, because of all the tar and creosote and whatnot that condensed on this set from the fire, hey, we're getting some video. I think it stinks just from the burn off from the fire that it was in. Oh, it's not a great picture by any means. We still have no sound. So we've still got a ways to go, but hey, considering I haven't really done much work at all yet, that's fantastic. Far better than I was expecting. And one last thing I want to try is, this is over the air and it's kind of a weak channel. I'm going to feed in a signal from my analog cable hookup. Okay, it's going right into my analog cable hookup. Let's see what difference that makes. Let's see, channel 6. It's going to be channel 3 or 4. I can't quite remember where I left it off. Well, I got nothing there, so let's try channel 3. Oh, there we go. No sound. Plenty of tearing on the left edge. Controls only do so much. So I don't doubt that there are various capacitors and resistors and whatnot that have drifted out of tolerance, and probably a few tubes are weak as well. Now these sets are notorious for having bad tube sockets, so I started wiggling them, and what do you know? Seems like this tube, there we go, a bit of wiggling, and we have sound. Now it's cranked up all the way. Oh, just some fine tuning, so it's not great, but it's sound. Now I'm hardly going to call this a restoration, but hey, it's playing after a fashion.
Now you really wanted to find an extra special surprise to take for Show's head.
No, I don't want to be breakfast. Everyone's already seen them.
Alright, so now I'm kind of torn which Predicta do I work on first. But yeah, I'm going to stick with my guns, and I've been saying all along I'm going to do the Holiday first, so I'm still going to go with the Holiday first. But here's a preview of things to come. Hopefully we'll be seeing more and more functioning Predictas in the not too distant future.